Hi everybody, good evening. It's our Wednesday night webinar series. This evening we're talking about social skills and social development and cyberbullying and bullying and all things that have to do with the social skills development of our children. And the stats are quite frightening with regards to cyberbullying, which I think has become more of an issue with all the online what would you call it, socializing that our children are doing at the moment. And I just wanted to share some stats with you, and then I'm going to play a little video that was quite scary for me to watch. But I think, you know, it's happening and we need to be aware of it, and we need to speak to our children about what is happening out there, because if, you know, if anything that this cyberbullying story has taught us, it's to be tuned in to our children as much as we can, to see what they're doing, hear what they're saying, and try and just make sure that we are always communicating and that we are part of their lives, especially if they are spending a lot of time online. So this topic, well, before I start, my name is Philippa Fabry. I'm an education consultant here in Port Elizabeth. I'm one of the directors at Elson Academy, and we do these Wednesday webinars to support and guide parents with very different topics. We've covered things about how to support your child if they struggle with maths, how to develop reading and comprehension. We've spoken about muscle development and how to be more organized. And tonight we are talking about the social skills part of the learning puzzle, so to speak. So with this topic, I want you to know that 40% of people have admitted to being bullied online. They've admitted to being victims of cyberbullying. The suicide rate has tripled over the last few years, with girls taking their lives more often than boys. That the suicide is the second most common cause of death in the age group of 10 to 24 years of age. And a study done in 2019 showed that South Africa was top out of 28 countries for cyberbullying, which is really concerning. And if there are parents watching this evening, please share this video, share this link with other parents. We want all parents to be aware of the issue. We want questions to come through. This is a safe space. We are not experts by no means, but I've got experience as an educator and as a teacher. So does my colleague Danny, that I'm going to introduce her to you just now. But this is a safe space to ask your questions. If you've got concerns, put them in the comments. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to be able to support you. So here's a video that I found on the internet. It has to do with a young girl. She's 12 years old. It's just 2 minutes, and then we're going to come back and we're going to chat some more.
And a funeral is being held this morning in Florida for Rebecca Sedgwick. The sixth grader committed suicide last week. Authorities say she suffered nearly a year of cyberbullying. As Michelle Miller reports, more than a dozen of her classmates could be held responsible.
Last Monday, 12-year-old Rebecca Sedgwick climbed to the top of this abandoned cement plant and jumped to her death, finally giving in to the girls that had tormented her online for months.
They wanted her to kill herself. You haven't killed yourself yet? Would you please just die? They got what they wanted.
Her mother, Tricia Norman, says the harassment started over a boy. She tried to get Rebecca away from the bullies by complaining to school officials. She then pulled her out of school, changed her cell phone number, and shut down her Facebook account. But the attackers moved to a variety of messaging apps.
The bullying continued by a group of female juveniles on different social media outlets.
Authorities are now exploring if charges can be brought against the 15 girls. Earlier this year, Florida expanded its school bullying law to include cyberbullying and some off-campus activities.
Becca wrote this down in her journal, and it says, every day, more and more kids kill themselves because of bullying. How many lives have to be lost until people realize words do matter?
Hi, this is my random video.
In the weeks before Rebecca's death, her mother thought the abuse had stopped. She says she had no idea that Rebecca had changed her username on one messaging app to That Dead Girl. She also didn't know about the troubling online searches for razor blades.
Another question she asked was, how many Advil do you need to take to die?
A memorial has sprung up on the fence surrounding the concrete plant where Rebecca took her own life. And Rebecca's family has started a Facebook page to help stamp out cyberbullying.
That was my heart. I loved her so much. And this is the least I can do for her. Nobody else would listen. Now that people are finally listening, now that she's gone, I'm not going to let it go.
For CBS This Morning, Michelle Miller, Lakeland, Florida.
Guys, she was 12. She was 12 years old. Last year or the year before last, there were two young girls who took their lives in Port Elizabeth. I'm not going to mention the school or where it was, but it was an event that shocked our community. Danny, welcome again. A very, very interesting topic. Talking about social skills, and obviously learning about social skills, we need to address things like bullying. In the good old days, bullying was something when somebody was nasty to you face to face. They would slap you around or steal your lunch or tease you face to face. But nowadays, we've got cell phones and smartphones and social media. So as we start with this, Dan, would you like to just introduce the topic tonight and what parents should, why should parents stick online until the end?
Well, cyberbullying, bullying, it all links to, is your child ready to move on to the next phase, whether it is going into starting school, going into high school? There are many, many social skills that our kids need, and we don't really understand what these social skills are. Very often if kids are being bullied, we don't see it as being bullied because they're just horsing around, just playing. So I think it's important. Parents, please, teachers as well, stick around to the end of this, because there's some very, very important information that's going to come through. So in terms of what to watch out for, because the signs are there and very, very often we miss them. So, let's work together to prevent missed opportunities of helping someone.
Yeah, if we talk about school being a social experience where kids are involved in each other's spaces, we talk about the three main missions that we hope a child can navigate through. The one is the political mission, and with that, it's basically how to get along with everybody in terms of your teachers, other people's parents, your friends, people your own age, and people in the lower grades and higher grades. It's not just your friendship circle. It's everybody in the school community. So it's a political mission. The second one is the friendship mission, which just deals with your micro community. So it's that group of friends that your child might hang out with at break time or go on play dates with. It's a small micro community. Is how to make friends, how to keep friends, and I suppose how to be a good friend to others. And then the third one is the popularity mission. And with that one, we talk about the macro community, because with schools, again, it's the popular girls and the popular kids that seem to get noticed. And often the quiet, shy, introvert children are the ones that get missed. And I suppose it's teaching our kids, even if you are shy and introvert, to be able to navigate that space where you are trying to find your feet. You're trying to find your place in the world, and you're trying to just get along, try and get by. It's not so important to be Mr. or Mrs. Popular, but you need to just be able to get along with everybody and relate to everybody. So the three again is the friendship mission, the popularity mission, and the political mission are the three main areas that our kids need to be able to develop those areas. And when we talk about social cognition, we're talking about children's ability to interpret other people's non-verbal and verbal cues, because you know that relationships is not only what we talk, how we listen and speak to one another, but it's also what is our body language doing. So I suppose if we want to kick off with talking about the verbal side of things, to better understand social cognition in terms of verbal pragmatics, common obstacles. Dan, I don't know if you want to start with the first two or three, and then I'll carry on with the next two or three. It's the verbal side,
Sure.
the verbal pragmatics and common obstacles that a child might encounter.
Full. The first one is when the child is not able to communicate effectively. They can't communicate their feelings. So that in itself within the child causes a bit of turmoil. I can't express how I'm feeling. Sometimes the child acts out, will retaliate physically. That is if the bullying is a face-to-face bullying. Online cyberbullying is faceless. So, and there's very seldom will the child hear the words. They will be reading it. So, you know, whether it's coming through on a social media platform, on a laptop, or on a cell phone, an iPad, whatever it is. And that is quite important because children don't know how to express what they are feeling. You know, sometimes the intonation that they use is incorrect and it's inappropriate for a specific situation. And that will perhaps make them a target to be bullied because other children will notice that. You know, many children don't understand somebody else's feelings. And because they don't understand those feelings, they might say things that without unintentionally are going to hurt somebody. Those are skills that many children do not actually have. They miss those social cues. It's appropriate to say this now. Actually, no, this is not appropriate to say this now. And they can't differentiate, and that becomes problematic for children. You know, so it's basically linked to what I'm saying, is that correct at this point in time? Is it appropriate? And sometimes if children haven't been taught different social skills, how do I relate to other people? Do I take someone else's opinion into consideration? Do I share with others? How do I feel about others being in my space? And it eventually will grow into what kind of adult are you going to be in the workplace? Because every situation we find ourselves in, Phil, is a social situation.
Exactly.
When there's, whether it's at school, a formal situation like a board meeting, an informal situation where there's just a family braai, or you've gone to a wedding, every situation we find ourselves in is social, which means that there are going to be different dynamics because we're all unique and we all perceive things differently.
Yeah. The other thing is I suppose if you look at your children amongst other children, how are they? What sort of participant are they in that conversation? Are they the ones that want to dominate the conversation, and they want to be the loudest, and they want to talk the most, or are they able to just stand back and let everybody take a turn and let everybody be part of the conversation? You've always been with that person who just doesn't, for want of a better word, shut up, and always just wants to have their say. The other thing is having a sense of humor, being able to follow humor, understand humor, and know what humor is appropriate and what humor isn't appropriate. Again, kids, there have been times when kids have used inappropriate humor and they don't know that it's inappropriate. And you have to say, hey, that's rude, or no, that's not very nice, you mustn't say that, and things like that. And also using the appropriate language for the appropriate situation. So the way you talk to your teacher or the way you talk to an adult that you don't know very well is going to be very different to how you speak to your friends and how you speak to your chummies. So it's things like that when we talk about verbal pragmatics, we talk about those situations. I see there's a comment coming through. I'm hoping that the audio is okay. If there's an issue with the audio, please let us know in the comments there as well. So my little girl is struggling at the moment as we're not doing children parties or play dates. Yes, due to COVID, I'm now finding that she's being signaled out for not attending parties and play dates. Where do I go as a parent? Lean towards protecting my child or allowing her to attend social care? Yeah. No, I think you are absolutely right, Mom. You don't need to feel guilty at all. This is not the time now to be socializing. We are heading into another wave, and I think exactly what you're doing is rather keep her out. It's not worth taking the risk. And you can just send a very polite little WhatsApp message to those parents on the group or on to the mother of the child who's having the party to just explain you needing to look after your family, you needing to look after the other kids in the class, and at this point you're not socializing unless it's with immediate family. So I don't think there's any problem with that.
Add into that to Facebook
Yes.
user.
Hello,
That is
Tracy.
such an
Lovely to see you
important-
online.
That is such an important issue that she's just raised there, because it's not just for children. There are many adults that are, I mean, I feel that way. When somebody says to me, okay, let's go and meet somewhere, my first reaction is, can I sit outside? Is there I'm not sitting inside. It's not going to happen. So Facebook user, it's not just for kids. It's
No,
for everybody
no.
at this point in time. And people
You're being
eventually stop
responsible.
asking me because
Yeah.
she keeps on saying no, so let's just no, it's not the time now to alienate and isolate children and adults. It's not the right time.
Yeah, correct. Okay, moving on to the nonverbal abilities, the nonverbal cues that children might struggle with. So with this one, it's the children who are shy and who don't feel comfortable greeting somebody that they don't know. So going up to a stranger, or as parents, you talking to somebody, your child doesn't know them, and do they know how to then, come up and say, hi, my name is so-and-so, and, fist pump or not necessarily fist pump if it's an adult, but just be able to say hello politely and introduce yourself. And also to be able to take the perspective of somebody who's talking. So being able to understand, showing that person is feeling sad, or that person is feeling left out, or no, that person's happy and excited. So being able to understand the expression and the feelings of the person when they're talking to them. And then also, I suppose, being able to initiate interaction. So can your child go up to somebody who they don't know and say, especially if it's a child who's maybe new at school, being able to go up there and say, hi, my name is so-and-so, I see you new, would you like to come and sit with us? Or something like that. To be that kind friend, and not feel shy about initiating a conversation, or being able to go up to kids who are possibly sitting together and say, hello, do you mind if I sit with you? Because kids can be mean, and I think we've all been in that situation where we've had nasty things being said to us, and it does wound us, and it makes it more difficult for us to try again. But it's always, be that kind person, be that kind friend. Look out for situations where you can go and make somebody feel safe and secure. And make sure that your body language is also appropriate. If you're talking to somebody, you don't want to be turning your back on them while they're talking, or looking down and looking at your phone or whatever when someone is talking to you. It's those kind of non-verbal cues that kids might struggle to develop those, and it's important for us as parents and adults to teach them those things. Danny, are there any you wanted to add there?
Well, I just wanted to say that children copy what they see. So
Yes.
if they see how the parents are using a cell phone, sitting at the table, in my opinion, any device does not belong at a dinner table. Whether you're having breakfast or a snack, it shouldn't be there, because it is already controlling our lives to such a degree that we need to have some little space where it's just family time, because people are distracted. They keep looking at their phone. No, moms and dads, your child's going to follow your example.
Yeah.
So show them from a young age, because it's exceptionally rude when you are visiting somebody, or you're in a restaurant somewhere and someone's on their phone all the time. There's no eye contact, and eye contact is something that's very important when it comes to social skills. If a teacher is talking to you and you're looking down like this, whether or not they are reprimanding you, that shows poor self-esteem. Or one of many things it could be, but I can't face you, I can't look at you, I don't have that self-esteem. I'm not confident in myself to actually look at you. So I think it's important, moms and dads, always remember that you are the first role model. So what your child sees you do, they're going to mimic.
I just wondered how many, if any of the viewers, if you've had experience of being bullied yourself or your child being bullied, maybe just pop a yes or a no in the comments.
I didn't understand that.
Because we want to just do a quick survey about, we know that the rate of bullying is definitely going up, but the awareness of it is also going up. So schools are doing a lot to try and curb bullying, and the fact that it's so easy now to record an incident of bullying because we all have our phones. And so, those issues, the kids are not getting away with it as much as I think they used to. So in one way, the social media is, I suppose, helping in a way, because we're becoming more aware of it, and kids know they can't really get away with it because somebody is going to catch them doing it. But the flip side of that is the cyberbullying and the fact that it can carry on behind the scenes. And often in that video, as you saw, it went on for weeks and weeks and nothing happened. So let's go on to why social skills are key. Why do we need to learn social skills? Why is it something that's so important?
Well, we need to be able to communicate effectively with other people. We can't, no man is an island unto himself. So we need to be able to live together with other people in harmony at the end of the day. Because it's when there are disputes that cannot be resolved that we end up with problems. I just wanted to backtrack a little bit to the cyberbullying, the issues that you just mentioned prior to this. I want to also stress the fact that cyberbullying is a criminal offense. Any form of bullying, but specifically cyberbullying, and it's taken extremely seriously. So I think parents, please also reinforce that with your children. Let them know that someone's going to bear the consequences. If something happens to a child because your child has contributed to the bullying of that child, and heaven forbid a child commits suicide, they can be held liable to a certain extent, as we had seen in that video. And that's not just for America. It's a very important factor to remember. For something that is important in terms of a key element, I think we mentioned it earlier on. Social skills are vitally important because kids they're not staying children forever. So they've got to move from being little kids to being a pre-adolescent, to going through that whole adolescence into young adulthood. And with each one of those phases, they are at primary school, they're at high school, they perhaps go into tertiary institutions, or they go and work. And as soon as you get into a working environment, then you have to communicate effectively with other people. You have to socialize, not just socialize as in
Work as
let's have
part
a
of a
cup of coffee.
team. Yeah.
Exactly. That is what
Collaboration.
is so important. Because it's sometimes you're not just working with your direct colleagues, you're working with colleagues from other companies, other schools, wherever it is that you are working. So that collaboration and the ability to work in a group without dominating, you mentioned earlier on, somebody who always wants to be in control. You might find that in a group environment where one person, right from the word go, is dominant and doesn't allow anybody else. So you might find people in the group that do not have the opportunity to contribute, and that also creates a problem for many people who struggle with communication skills, not just with social skills. So that cooperative teamwork is very important, and that is one of the key factors in terms of developing social skills.
Yeah. The advantages of having well-developed social skills obviously is self-explanatory. It improves your relationships with others, your interpersonal relationships, so that you can be able to identify well with people around you, that you are a good team player, that you can make a contribution to anything that is involving group work or anything like that. Obviously, if you are getting on well with other people and you seem to be okay and developing good relationships, it improves your mental health, your health, your well-being, and all of that. And obviously self-esteem. If you are being knocked around and people are taking advantage of you, or treading all over you, and you're not able to assert yourself, it could also lead to depression and anxiety and stress, especially stress in the workplace. And I mean, we all know that there are a lot of people that are bullied by their bosses, who are, again, that they just don't know how to assert themselves and stand up for what they believe in, and that. So the interpersonal relationships are important. The other ones, Dan, do you want to carry on with the effective communication, working effectively with others?
Phil, I just wanted to say that verbal bullying, we often underestimate the impact of verbal bullying. You don't see that a child has got a black eye because someone's beaten him up, but you don't know what's happening inside because of what has been said. And kids can really, really be very nasty. I've lost track here, Phil. Where were we now? There's so many things I want to say.
No, I think we've really covered a lot of them, or sort of incidentally. We're talking about the effective communication, being able to work effectively with others in a team, and then advancing career prospects. Because obviously, when you go for an interview, and you're being asked to speak, you need to be able to relate to that person. So when you go into an interview, you need to behave in a certain way. You need to conduct yourself in a certain way. And all of those, there again, it comes into that whole verbal and the non-verbal, because people will pick up on your body language if you are, if you are really wanting to be there or not, and how you present yourself is also very, very important. Communication is key in a work environment, when you're working with people. And again, it stems from, how the kids were at school. How did they work together as a team at school? The whole thing about team spirit when there's a sports day, or a gala, and being able to pull together and, rah, here we go kind of thing. It's so important that kids understand what their role is. What is your role? Again, there's that political mission again. What is your role? Are you a leader, or are you a mascot, or are you just a team player that's doing your best for everybody else? So I don't know if there's anything else to add, and I don't know if there are any questions coming through. We're getting to the end now, and of course what we want to do is if you have identified or resonated with anything that we've said, if you're worried about your children, if you're worried about how can you better support your child if you're if your child is battling with friendship issues, maybe they aren't really coping as much as they should be. I mean, high school is a completely different ball game. in terms of how important your friends are. And yeah, it's just primary school, high school, and then moving into tertiary and the workplace. It's just so important. So the emotional intelligence, it was the whole topic about, what is more important, EQ or IQ? And again, that's another conversation for another day. But I think EQ plays a huge role in our children's ability to stand on their own 2 feet and being able to go and be successful in the world. So I don't know if you want final thoughts before I end off there, Dan.
I just wanted
Thank
to
you,
mention
Tracy.
2 or 3 things that parents can look out for. If
Yes.
your child is not prepared to discuss what they are doing online. In our home, my daughter's an adult, and my son is a teen, but they have known Kirsten. She's a young adult, so I don't check up on what she's doing. But as they were growing up, there was no privacy when it came to cell phones and being online. You had to be in a common area in the house so that we could monitor what was going on. So parents, if your child is not letting you see, they don't want you to see what their activities are, if their eating habits are changing, if their sleeping patterns are changing, if you find that they are lacking sleep because they're spending extended hours on their phones, if they're starting to withdraw from activities, there are so many, then sit up and take note, because those are some of the signs. Phil, I just wanted to also mention that there are many celebrities who have been bullied. Not the bullied, because we have this preconceived idea of that the jocks of the school, the pretty girls at the school, they don't get bullied. It's only the fat kids that get bullied, or the kids wearing specs or
glasses, yeah.
And it's not always, that is not always the case. I just want to mention 1 or 2, if I may.
Yes.
There's one chap that I always refer to when I discuss bullying, and that is Elon Musk. Many people do not know who this chap is. I had never heard about him. I learnt about him from a young chap that comes to me for English, and we've chatted about it in oral on Elon Musk. Now, Elon Musk is the second, at this point in time, he's just been tipped again by Jeff Bezos, but he is the second richest man in the world. He's a South African chap. He went to a school here in South Africa. He was bullied mercilessly. He was at a school in Pretoria, to the point that at the age of 12, he was beaten up, thrown down the stairs at the school, and then continued to be bullied and beaten up. But his dad said that when he went to fetch him, he didn't recognize his son. And he took him to hospital. That boy at the age of 12 spent about 2 weeks in hospital because of the severity of the bullying. And it's interesting because there are so many other people who are in that caliber. And I'm not saying that because you're in that caliber you are better. What I'm saying is you can find some kind of solace. Have a look and say, you know what, I can beat this. I can get beyond this. So it's important for children to know, you know what, together we can work through this bullying so that we can try and prevent tragedies, Phil.
Yeah. It's always the quiet, sort of quirky children with strange interests and abilities that are the ones that are what do you call it? Not isolated, but they're the ones that are singled out because they are different. They don't fit the mold. Yeah, there he is.
Yep.
That's it. Yeah. So, parents, if you're watching and you want to find out more, after this we then compile an article that gets sent out, and we would include more solutions for you as parents and teachers. Danny and I will put together the show notes for this evening, and we'll add a whole lot more that you can email me or just check on my Facebook page. It's Philippa Fabry Education Consultant Facebook page. I post them there. I also post them on LinkedIn. So you're welcome to search for me there or email me and I can send it to you. But really, this is a very important issue. We could go on all night, and I think we could do a talk on cyberbullying, on our own, on its own, because it's such an important topic. but it's been, yeah, it's been something that has been on my mind for a long time, especially the fact that our teenagers are struggling. They're taking their lives for something that that shouldn't be happening. It's an absolute tragedy. So thank you so much, Dan, for joining me again this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you, and yeah, we hope that we do get some parents that are able to really just take what we're saying seriously and sit with their kids, talk to your kids about what they're doing on social media, talk to them about how much time they're on social media, because 2 hours a day is too much. Yeah, you know, it's way too much. So we need to be making sure that our children are actually socializing, not only on the screen but also with their families at home. I'm not saying go out and have parties, but just, you know, talk to each other, not through a screen. So thank you so much, and yeah, have a blessed evening, everybody, and we will see you next Wednesday, same time, same place. See you then. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye, Dan. Bye, everybody.